Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Callie, and last week I did an unhaul. So naturally, after an unhaul, I'm gonna do my more recent haul. Now this is gonna be for the past probably two and a half months, give or take. But yeah, these are all the books that I've gotten, and I actually will probably start off with, I actually got this today as I am filming, and it is a Fairy Loot box. Now, I do get the monthly subscription for Fairy Loot, and one of the nice things about doing that is if there are sequels or anything of that nature, you get first dibs. If you were already a subscriber and got that book in like the monthly box or whatever, you get first dibs if they're doing a special edition of a sequel. So I did just that, especially because I loved this book. I got a copy of Never a Hero by Vanessa Len. This is the sequel to Only a Monster, and it is the same really cool special edition, so it'll match my current copy. I love that Fairy Loot does this. I loved this story. This was like a time travel, sci-fi, enemies to lovers, triangle thing that happened. So many things happened, but I pre-ordered this back in June or July. So usually Fairy Loot is not all that great at getting these editions to you within the time that they drop, which is usually never a big issue for me because while I do read a lot of new releases, when it comes to sequels, I don't typically read them right away. I will have them, but I really like to reread books before I jump into a sequel. So the fact that a lot of them are delayed never bothers me. But this drops, I think, tomorrow. So this is really cool that I got it a day early. It was actually supposed to show up tomorrow. So I'm really excited that I now have this and I can start my reread. But this is actually, I thought it was going to be a duology. Turns out it's going to be a whole ass series. So that's on me. Sticking with the theme, I've kind of separated out this entire haul into sections. Obviously I wanted to really open that because it came in early, but I do a ton of pre-orders. I usually do, Barnes & Noble has typically a very big pre-order sale, different ones throughout the year, one at the beginning of the year, one in the middle of the year, and I'll typically do a huge order of just pre-orders because one of the nice things that Barnes & Noble does, they won't charge you until it ships. Similar to Amazon, but yeah, I do a ton of pre-ordering. It's how I keep myself in check, and it makes going to the store much cheaper for me, which I don't know if is actually true, given I went to the store later, but we'll get to that. So the first pre-order, these are in no particular order, these are just pre-orders. I got Legend and Liars. This dropped last month. I am actually just about to start this book. This is the second book in the Echoes and Empires. I believe this is a duology by Morgan Rhodes. I love Morgan Rhodes. She's the author of the Fallen Kingdom series, which is one of my favorite all-time young adult fantasy series. So I really liked book one. It was very Indiana Jones, archaeology, mixed with magic, mixed with time travel, so many aspects of it, and I'm really excited to get into the sequel. My next pre-order also came out in July. I got a ton of books while I was away in New Zealand, so thankfully I have Sarah who brought in my mail and protected these lovely books that showed up. But I got A Game of Gods by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the third book in the Hades saga, but the fifth book in the Hades and Persephone series overall. So these are just the Touch of Darkness series, but in Hades' perspective. So this is Hades' perspective of book 3. So I haven't gotten to this yet. I have read book 3 of the series. What I'm doing, I am going to restart all the way from book 1 and go through in the order that the author intends, which is every other until A Game of Chaos comes out, which is the last book, which will have multiple point of views. So this is the last book that we get in solely Hades' perspective, and I'm really excited I love how she has written Hades' perspective within these stories, so I'm really pumped to get into that again. The last pre-order that I have recently, I think this is beginning of July, maybe mid-June, is A Soul of Ash and Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is from Blood and Ash in Cass's point of view. I really love that we're getting the different perspectives from these authors, especially in romance. I love getting the male perspective. It is really fun. While I do love the angst and the mystique that comes with not getting their point of view. I like how these authors have done it where you still get that mystique and mystery, but later we do get their point of view so we can actually get into their head and understand what they're going through at that time. So I Have a Soul of Ash and Blood. I love this series. It is a guilty pleasure and I just adore everything. The next section is just books overall that I've kind of gotten in the past couple of days, or not days, in the past couple of months. The first one is Grace and Glory by Jennifer Armentrout. I bought this at secondhand because I was reading the series and I really wanted to get to the third book, which I did eventually read. I think I read this in June or July. I have no idea. But I really liked it. I love this series. I was very shocked as to how much I actually enjoyed this series. This is the Harbinger series. So tons of spin-offs of all of her other series. I just love JLA's writing. Next one I have is Malice by Heather Walter. Sarah was actually unhauling this, and one of the things that we both do for each other is if we have an unhaul and either of us is interested in anything, we can just take it. So I was interested in Malice. I keep eyeing it at the bookstore and it looks interesting. This is a sapphic fantasy romantic retelling of Beauty and the Beast. So instead of Aurora and Philip, this is Aurora and Maleficent, hence the name Malice. So I'm intrigued. I've heard good things about it, so I picked it up. The last one for this section is 15 Postcards by Kirsten McKenzie. I bought this over in New Zealand. This is a New Zealand author. And this is, I believe, a historical time travel fiction, kind of like Outlander, but it takes place throughout different points in time in New Zealand, as well as India, and I believe Thailand, Victorian London, colonial New Zealand, and the British Raj in India. So I'm intrigued. This is a whole series. The reviews were really good. So, and I found this at just like this cute little indie bookshop over in New Zealand, and I wanted to at least spend my money at one bookstore there. The next section that I have is the book box section. So I did go over Never a Hero, which I got from a book box, which is Fairy Loot. I also got Threads That Bind by Kika Hatsopalu. I'm really sorry. This is an urban fantasy where our main character can literally see the threads of fate. There's the three-faced goddess thing, where goddess-born girls who have this fate magic are always triplets. So you have one to weave, one to was the drawer. She can elongate or shorten a thread, and the youngest is the cutter, and who can cut the threads of fate. So we follow the cutter sister as there's a lot of crime and things happening in the magical community opposed to the human community. She's also not quite a vigilante, but social justice fighter for the magical community. I really enjoyed this. I finished this a couple weeks ago, and it was just such a fascinating. I love urban fantasy. They're just so cool to have the like modern technology mixed with the fantasy magic. You can thank Crescent City for that obsession. But this was just super fun and a really unique concept, and I can't wait to kind of see where the story goes with this. Well, the next one I have is Book of the Month. So for the past couple of months, I've gotten Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood because all of my Ali Hazelwood books come in Book of the Month form with this hardback lovely edition, so naturally I had to get this one to match. So now I have 3 editions of this book, which is a whole problem, but not really. Next I have The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I love Riley Sager. They are a fantastic author for thriller and suspense. They get me every time. This one, probably not my favorite, but it was very fascinating with the lore of the haunted house and the just very Lizzie Borden-esque creep factor. Next I have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. This is her newest release. I believe this is her adult debut. So I really like Chloe Gong. I just finished the Violent Delights duology, which I really loved. So I'm continuing with that series, and I'm intrigued to see how her writing is different in an adult book. And my most recent dip into Book of the Month was Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. I love Elizabeth Acevedo. Her writing has beautiful prose. This is one of her books that is written in novel form opposed to in poetry. But either way, I'm really excited. She usually has some sort of magical element written into her books. for a magical realism aspect, and I'm just really excited to have a new book by her because it's been a bit since she dropped something new. Okay, so the last section is I just recently went to Barnes & Noble and for their hardcover sale, because naturally I have to take advantage of that. And it is also my birthday on Saturday. So this was a little treat to myself to books and fun things that I love for my birthday. So what I ended up getting was Last Violent Call by Chloe Gong. This is a companion short story novellas. There's 2 novellas. There's A Foul Thing and This Foul Murder, which follow the events of Our Violent Ends. But I did recently read that you should read these after Foul Lady Fortune. So I am going to hold off until I get to Foul Lady Fortune, which I have set up for September to read. But you're supposed to read them before Foul Lady Huntsman. So really excited to jump into and maybe even get some more Roma and Juliet in one of these. Up next, I got Crossed by Emily McIntyre. I really like Emily McIntyre. She does these like dark Disney fairy tale retelling stories. This one is Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is probably one of my favorite underrated Disney films. The music alone is beautiful and phenomenal, and it has a France setting, so naturally I love it. But hers are all the villains get the girls, so this is Frollo gets Esmeralda. Frollo is obviously not how he is in the film. She ages them down and appropriately. But either way, I'm really excited. I love her writing. It is fun, it is steamy, and she can tell a really good story. Sticking on trend with romance, I got Eyes on Me by Sarah Kate. I am slowly collecting the Salacious Players Club series in the new covers. So she is completely rebranding because she got a publishing deal. So I'm slowly getting all of these fun covers, and then I go back to my ebook and tab what I tabbed when I read them all in the ebook. I am fully caught up on this series. I just want them on my shelves, and I love these new covers. I really like discreet covers. I don't care for people on my covers, so these are perfect for me. Up next, I've got 2 books by the same author. I ended up getting Longshot and The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan. Kennedy Ryan is one of my favorite romance authors. She really knows how to pack a emotional punch as well as tell a really good love story. So I've heard Longshot is one of her best works. So I definitely wanted to give this, plus they just got new covers. We got the dudes off the covers. And then Kingmaker as well, I believe Kennedy Ryan just did a sign. Yeah, she's with Bloom Publishing now. But then Kingmaker is another, it's one of her more new stories. So I'm really excited to see what this series is all about. And they're all series because she loves a series, and I'm kind of here for it. Up next, I picked up Redeemed by Lauren Asher. This was the last book that I needed in my physical copies of the Dirty Air series. This one was definitely my favorite in the Dirty Air series. I cannot tell if you can tell, but I tabbed the crap out of this book because I loved it so much. This is a Formula One sports romance series, and I sobbed so much during this book. I'm so glad now I finally have all the Dreamland Billionaires and all of the Dirty Air series. I own everything. I've caught up on everything. I am ready for Love Redesigned. I'm so excited. Up next, I have Ricochet by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the second book in the Addicted to You series. And I took a little bit to get to this book just because Addicted to You was a lot more hard-hitting and powerful and dark than any other romance that I've read. So I was a little hesitant to go into this, but Ricochet has definitely solidified that I want to continue with this series. This series is a huge commitment. It's like 10 books long. So I'm really excited to see where this all goes. The last romance that I got is Stinger by Mia Sheridan. Mia Sheridan has become one of my favorite romance authors. So when I saw Stinger on there, I read the back and went, yep, need to have that in my life. But she's the author of Archer's Voice and Travis, which I've given both 5 stars. So I am super, super excited to see outside of that world if I love her stuff just as much. And I have such high hopes for this book. And the last book is actually one of my most anticipated books for the entire year. It dropped technically in May. It got pushed a little bit, but I was... I don't know why I didn't pre-order it, but somehow it slipped my mind. And that is A Crown of Ivy and Glass by Claire Legrand. I love Claire Legrand. She's one of my favorite authors The Furyborn trilogy is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. So this is her newest fantasy series, and I am so excited to get back into Claire Legrand and to see if she can weave amazing stories like she has for the Imperium trilogy. And yeah, I went a little crazy, but let's put it into perspective. This is like since the end of June. Okay? So it's not all that I've like recently gotten, barring the trip I just went on. But that is going to be it for today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Let me know what recent books you guys have purchased in the past couple of months and what you're most excited to read, because I know I keep looking at this. I've actually read a fair amount of these already, and I'm really happy with them. So I will see you guys in our next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!